Hello and welcome to a video that I'm going to be calling the issue with Symm. Now, Symmetra, you all know her, you all, I guess, acknowledge her existence. Some people love her, but we're going to talk about some of the major issues facing Symmetra today, and that is that despite what the Overwatch team has tried to do, they have not made her viable in comp still. Aside from really low level play. Now you're going to see a lot of Symmetra into low levels because people don't have their aim developed, because people just can't deal with somebody with a hitbox the size of a toothbrush running around on screen, hitting them without actually requiring any amount of aim. Hell, you can be turned around and still hitting them. So, the trick here is now discussing, well, 1, why this is, 2, what parts of her kit are actually still broken or still useless, and 3, how to make her feel like less of a troll character, because that was the issue when Overwatch first buffed her, that she just couldn't do anything and seemed like a bit of a troll character. Now, this is going to start off pretty simply and then progress into some more advanced shit as we go on. Step 1, maybe make her a bit larger. I know, it doesn't sound right, but Symmetra is probably the smallest person in the Overwatch group, aside from Tracer. And Tracer has to be up front and personal to actually deal with somebody. A Symmetra can pretty much be hiding around a corner and still manage to get damage in. Her hitbox is one of those things. Now, of course, a Tracer is still going to wreck a high level comp. That's because she has mobility. Symmetra doesn't have any mobility, aside from her teleporter, but that depends on if she sets up her kill gate properly or not. Let's face it, any Symmetra with 4 brain cells is going to set up a kill gate at least well. Second, the beam. Oh yes, everybody loves the beam and loves defending it for some reason, but let's look at it like this. It's advertised to attach at 7 meters and detach at 14 meters, but because it does 4 ticks a second and it stays locked for at least 1 tick, that is still an extra 30 or even 40 damage that you're receiving once you're out of the beam's range or behind a full barrier or something. Meaning that if you're a Tracer or if you're a squishy trying to run away from a Symm because for whatever reason you haven't placed your shots right or you're just in a bad positioning, you're done for. And the Symm, all they had to do was just hold M1 in your general direction. Not even in your general direction, you were behind a wall at this point, buddy. You're still dead. Finally, on to some of the heavier math and some of the stuff that doesn't seem very fair. We're looking at the nano boost effect, potential damage output in a standard situation. Now, we're going to use the ideal situation for both a Symm and a soldier nano boost. Meaning that in this case, the enemies are loosely grouped up, there's not too many shields at all, and, well, basically just the team comp on the enemy team is absolute ass. Because anything that can deal with the soldier can deal with the Symmetra just as easily. Any shields, both of their damage outputs is basically done as long as the Symmetra doesn't, get smart and run around or put a turret down somewhere. So, here comes the math. Soldier bullets do an average of 19 damage each, meaning at the rate of 9 rounds per second, he does about 171 DPS. His clip of about 30 is exhausted in roughly 3 seconds. Visor is 6 seconds long, and the reload is about a second, or 0.75 seconds, but we're rounding up for simplicity. Given he can't headshot during this brings his total potential damage, meaning his best possible damage output in 6 seconds, to 855. Symmetra's beam at max charge, and she gains this charge quickly enough, is supposed to be 30 damage per tick at 4 ticks per second, or 120 DPS. However, I have seen, divas when they're knocked out of mech die in 0.5 seconds to a Symm beam. It's just ridiculous to look at it. Now, she only uses 7 ammo per second, meaning that since she has a reload every roughly 10 or so seconds, she has 100 ammo in her little gun. Her maximum potential damage in 6 seconds is only 720. So Soldier out-damages her in 6 seconds using his ult. Now this is where things get a little weird. Let's add a nano boost. A nano boost is 8 seconds. Soldier now does 50% more damage. However, because he only gets 6 seconds of functional damage, out of that 8 seconds, 2 of these seconds, of course, being sent to reloading, Nanovisor only does now 1,285 damage. This is the interesting part. Because Symmetra only needs to reload every 10 seconds or so, she gets the full 8 seconds of damage. So we're not dealing with 6 seconds of damage, which would be 720. We're dealing with 960 because you're adding 2 extra seconds of 120 DPS to this. Add the nano boost, and it brings Symm's total potential damage with a nano up to 1,440. Easily 200 more damage than Soldier's nano visor, or 1 melted extra squishy. Not to mention, whereas Soldier has to charge up his ult, and a good soldier will have his ult fairly frequently, Symm can just do this whenever. As long as the team is positioned right and you don't get instantly melted down. So anyone trying to do this in comp, good luck, buddy, because as long as the enemy team has at least 6 brain cells, they're going to realize that there's a glowing Hindu goddess of destruction running at them and promptly deal with it. So, that's the problem with her DPS, is that it's a little high for someone who's supposed to be a support. Now, how would I recommend changing this to fix the issue at hand? Personally, I'd recommend either nerfing the total detach distance by a couple of meters, or removing the damage ramp up and setting her at a flat 25 damage per tick. Meaning she'll only do 100 DPS, and her whole 8 seconds of damage here is only worth 800 instead of 960. Pardon the little slip in my math there. Which lowers Symm's potential damage to 1,200 as opposed to 1,440, which is less than a nanovisor, and of course, seemingly logical for a support. Now, if you think this is going to absolutely ruin Symmetra, think about it. She still has her full utility, her full set. The only difference is that now the fucky beam doesn't get like an insta-kill on you if you're trying to run away. You might be left with like 5 health. Which, of course, if your enemies are dealing with things properly, you'll be picked off shortly after. But at least you're not dying to a beam that went through a wall. Right? This, of course, has been purely theory crafting, basically, how to fix Symmetra and make her more viable across the board, how to basically make her less busted. Now, I would suggest if you're going to implement this damage nerf, give her a little more actual physical health with her shields, which would bring her up to about 250 health, only about 150 of that being actual health, 50 of that being shields. Shields are incredibly easily destroyed by Zarya beams, gorilla lasers, and a couple of other things, meaning that the current dive comp is going to absolutely slam her. And she's built to basically be anti-dive, at least in a sense. Now, that's all the time I have for today, and if you enjoyed this little bit of theory crafting, be sure to leave a like below. Also, I want to see what your opinions are on this, and a little more on how to fix other characters you might think are broken, because I'll do the math, and I'll be sure to get in there and actually try to figure out, like, hey, this could work, this could not work, this over here could work, let's give McCree some extra health. What? No, let's just make his flashbang marginally more useful. Not that it doesn't go flying out of his dick whenever you... Okay, I'm ranting. See you guys later. Peace out.